Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In this channel, since it's the first video, I'll give you a summary of what we do and what we talk about. So in today's video, we'll be talking about Bitcoin, Microsoft, and Tesla, and all the different entry points we think we should be looking for. And again, these are all dubious speculations, but with my basic trendline strategies, I can show you where I would personally look for an entry point. And if you're someone like me who's trying to understand the market and bet on a position to enter with the basic technical analysis, then you're at the right place. The goal of this channel is to make sure we share what we learn with you guys at least thrice a week, so you know exactly what to look for. It doesn't matter if it's crypto or stock. So let's start this journey together. So let me dive right in. So the first one today, what I'm going to talk about is Bitcoin. So as you can see on my screen, I'm using TradingView platform to do my technical analysis. And if you look at the trend line here, as you can see, yesterday Bitcoin broke through the trend line, which is a scary part, obviously, from a Bitcoin holding standpoint, because if you know what it is when it means trend line break, right? Because you broke the trend line at 28, capitulated down. Now you're at about 25 to close to $26,000. And with the analysis that I've done already, you can see the trend line from here where there was resistance and then a support here. So that's where a lot of whales or the big money holders would come in to play, or that's when they actually take out the profit, right? That's why you would see price action in those areas. So if you look over here, that's what I'm trending to, right? So since we broke this trend line here, I am my dubious speculation again. I'm not telling you that's exactly what's going to turn out because you can never predict the market, right? But if my speculation is right, we would either get support at this level, which is about $25,000, but because if you look at the macroeconomics, there isn't much positives coming out recently. So there is a likelihood that we break this support, which is the $25,000. And if that happens, then there's a really high chance of Bitcoin basically going down, basically the bears taking over, and we could see Bitcoin ending up close to $20,000. If you look at the previous markets in 2020, you would see the same thing. When you see the trend line break, I've already looked at it. I don't want to go into the details because a lot of other channels would do that. I can just tell you generally it's about a 40 to 60% percentage drop on the candle, right? So if you look at a 40 to 60% drop here, we're looking at about $23,000. So I personally am looking for, a number close to 23,000 to take my first entry position for Bitcoin in this new bear market, I'm calling it. And if it capitulates again and go to 20,000, to me, again, this is dubious speculation, but to me that's more like the worst case scenario before we see a new uptrend or a bullish trend, right? So what I would do is try to put 50% of what you're allotting for Bitcoin when it reaches like the 23,000 level, and if it capitulates again to 20,000, that's when I would put the rest 50% of whatever I was trying to invest into Bitcoin. And these are just recommendations. And what I would do is I have an alert setting here. So if you look here, there's an alert setting. So I have an alert for a Lemonade stock, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Microsoft. And so you can read here crossing, right? So once that stock or crypto crosses that specific number, I would get an alert, and when I get the alert, that means, the basically the market is playing out the way I expected it to play out. For example, here I said there is a possibility for Bitcoin to basically break this trend line and come even further down to close to the $23,000. So I have a trend or an alert I've set for myself so I don't miss this opportunity. So If it goes below 24,000 and gets to the 23,000, I get an alert and I know that means it's playing out the way I expected, and that is a possible or a potential entry point, right? You can do alerts here, like if you go to alert on TradingView and you can just add alerts here. You can just plus create alert, and you can just create an alert for any stock, any ETF, any mutual funds, crypto. That way you don't miss out on the opportunities, right? Because you do your technical analysis, but you don't want to miss out on the right time to enter the market. So that's it, guys, about Bitcoin. Is I would be looking at this trend line. If it breaks, I would say 23,000 is your first entry point, and $20,000 is like the worst case scenario I see myself Bitcoin playing in this specific bear market. So that's if that plays out, then that's where I'm gonna go with the rest of my 50%. So that's it for Bitcoin. I'll like I said in this channel, I'll be giving you updates on a regular basis. So as this plays out, I'll be giving you updates so you know exactly what to look out for. If we move on to Microsoft here, I saw a pattern today forming. So this is an inverse wedge pattern, which means once it hits the tip of the wedge, there is a likelihood of a trend change. So now we are in a downward trend. There's a likelihood for the trend to go upwards, right? So, and this is the trend line I drew. This is another trend line, right? And then this is the 200-day moving average. So as a trader, what you want to do is make sure there's multiple indicators basically showing you the same thing, right? So, for example, here there's this inverted wedge, which is telling me there's potential to have an inverse in the trend somewhere around the $300. And this 200-day moving average right here is also trending towards that point, right? So there's the 200-day moving average. There is an actual candlestick pattern forming, and there's a trend line. Everything is basically joining at the $300 mark, right? And at that point, I believe this RSI is going to fall even further to a 30 mark, which generally means this specific stock is oversold and it's the right time to enter the market. But again, I'm not recommending for you to put all your money when it hits that number. But again, I keep telling this is a dubious speculation. So if if everything plays out the way I'm expecting here, then we should be expecting a trend reversal somewhere around that $300 mark for Microsoft. And you can see already the upside potential if it plays out the way we expect it to, right? So you're pretty much going from like a $295 Microsoft to a potential $360, right? That's your upward potential right there. So like I said, we should generally, especially when it comes to stocks, you should generally look for different indicators proving the same thing, which gives you more confidence to go into this market or the stock and basically place your bet and or find your entry point, right? So with more indicators, that means less risk, and that means, there's less chance of you losing money. And it's just good to have more indicators, right? Because if it's just one indicator, there's a likelihood that that indicator doesn't play out the way it should, and you might lose money. So I'm here to help you out. These are all the different indicators and technical analysis that I could find for that number. So watch out for this. I'll be giving you more updates as this plays out in the coming days. The last one I have here is Tesla. So let me take this out. This is a Fibonacci indicator. I'll show you this later, but it's better to explain other indicators without that. So this is the trend line. We're close to that trend line on the Tesla stock here. This is an uptrend, if you can see here. So if I go back, let me see. Yeah, there you go. So this is an uptrend, and if everything plays out, there's a chance there's gonna be a trend reversal with the Tesla stock, right? So we went all the way up to $300 on Tesla, and now there's a pullback, which is normal for any market, right? You always want to see good pullbacks, which makes the bull run even stronger once it bounces back from good trend lines, right? So this is a trend line, this is an upward trend line. If Tesla bounces from this area right here, which is about $210, right? That means it's that's good entry point, right? If you see a bounce here, that means it's an uptrend. It's continuing to be an uptrend, right? It did not break this trend line, so most likely it would go for about this recent high, which is 298, right? So that's a good upward potential to make profit, right? Again, do be speculation, do your research, but this is what I'm looking for, right? I'm just telling you what I'm looking for entry points. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe. And like I said, I'll be putting in more contents in the future. But again, back to the technical analysis. If this breaks this trend line, right, there is a chance that because if we break this trend line, there's most likely not a lot of buyers, which means you would see a candlestick forming, which would look almost like this, right? So it's going to be a single day. These candlestick are single day candles, right? So you can see here what that is. So I usually try to trade at single day candlesticks. So if that's the case, if it breaks a trend line, there's a good likelihood of Tesla stock going all the way to testing this support, which is around 150 $3, right? So that's why I have this trend line that I have. So when I come back to TradingView and look for Tesla, if it plays out to where if it breaks this trend line, there's a really high chance of it meeting this support, right? So that's a good entry point. But if Tesla gets support here and meets this trend line and shows an upward trend, then that I think that's a good entry point because there's a highly likelihood of Tesla going even further than the 300 local all-time high. And for all these different technical analysis, when you do this, I very highly suggest that you set alerts so you don't have to be looking at all these charts all the time, right? You have your family time, you have your free time. Just, set the alert so you get the alert, and once you get the alert, you know exactly how it played out. For example, I don't have a Tesla alert yet. I'm gonna do that right now. Let me do that right now so you guys can see how to set an alert. So you press for an alert, just say alert name as Tesla so you know exactly which stock is playing out how you expected. And I would put the price. So let me see here. So I want this to break this trend line. So anything below 200 is what I'm looking for, which is telling me we're probably going to capitulate all the way down to 150, right? So I'm going to say 199. If it plays out to 199, there's a high likelihood of Tesla going all the way down to 150, right? So I'm going to set it to 199. It's automatically updated, and the alert would say Tesla. Let's create it. Once created, it's going to show up here. Right here, there you go. So active, it's an alert I just created while you guys were watching, right? So that's what I do, so that way I'm not looking at this chart 24/7. You don't want that. You need a life outside stock and trading, right? So that's all for today's video, guys. If you like the content, please share, please subscribe, please like the content, and which helps the YouTube algorithm. I'm new to this, so hopefully you can help me out here. And if there's any specific crypto or stock you would like me to do my basic technical analysis and recommend entry points and exit points, please put down in the comments and let me work for you here. So talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much again. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.